Hello, everyone. Ambassador Terry here with First Fridays with Ambassador Terry and Friends. And I have a close friend and colleague this week, special guest Willis Turner, who is the CEO of Sales and Marketing Executives International, a little group of executives around the world of over 100,000. How many is there now, Willis?
Well, it's in the tens of thousands for sure, Terry.
Absolutely. Big deal. Big deal. So, yeah, and we're here. There's a lot going on out there. This is mid-year in the calendar year, fiscal year part for a lot of companies and things like that. So I asked Willis to come on this month, and we're talking about sales and marketing and what the executives are thinking, what we've been hearing, and just kind of chat it through. And so I'm excited to do this with you, Willis. We've done a few things in the past, and our interchange of ideas and conversation has been very good. And I'm as you know, I'm a big marketing guy, so sales and marketing is part of my world too. So let's just dive right on into it, Willis. What are you hearing out there from your people? Have you had any meetings lately or conventions or anything where you've had some conversations?
We have, and what we're hearing is that there is a renewed interest in adoption of uh, soft skills that complement some of the software and some of the technology that is being used in sales and marketing now, Terry. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And it's exciting to talk because we always come up with topics that are really relevant. And I remember one of the ones that we had was during the early days of COVID, we were talking about body language and online video calls for sales and
Yeah.
marketing. And that was a really popular session. And I would say that it's still relevant today because we're finding that there are a lot of video calls being done. It hasn't really tapered off since the pandemic closures. We've gotten into a new way of doing business. And so the expectation today is that you're going to have a lot of online meetings, and not only in one-to-one meetings, but also conferences and workshops are being broadcast as hybrid events. So there are some people in person, some people watching online. It's just that's the expectation today. So if you're a sales and marketing professional who is presenting to a group of people, remember that you usually have three audiences. You have the audience that is in front of you in the room, you have the audience that's watching online, and then you have the audience that's going to be in the long tail of the video recording of the event, because that's a natural outcome of the live stream, is that you're going to have a video recording. And that long tail can live on and be evergreen content. So I would just recommend that sales marketing professionals or anyone who's presenting to groups, remember that and try and think about their content in terms of it being evergreen. So don't stale date your content. Don't put a best before date on it just by the way you talk and the things that you're demonstrating. Make sure that you leave it open so that people can take the content that you're using as kind of pillars for what they're going to do in the future to help them build. And don't put the roof on the building too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had the privilege just the other day of doing a breakfast speech online and had a live lunchtime keynote the same day. It was just impossible to go both of them, but the breakfast people wanted an online gig, and I go, outstanding, can't get better than this. I never left my hotel room. We did a great morning discussion with some executives who were on top of a mountain at a retreat. So it was, there's just a lot of things that are going on out there that are on the internet and live online. And there are people for that breakfast meeting recorded it because they figured it was going to be pretty good. And by the time it was done, it was really good. We have some great discussions. And then here I am. I go down to have breakfast with the people I'm with there at the conference, and stuck around for lunch and did a keynote. So it was a great day for me. But the point is, stay away from the box thinking. There is no inside, no outside of the box in my world, because if you are thinking about some sort of a limiter, it is limiting the open-mindedness that you could otherwise use to achieve. And so, whenever you're thinking about stuff, some of my best ideas have come up from conversations with some other person where I went, I gotta talk to Willis on this. I got an idea. And what did it do? Here he is right now, doing a live with me off of an idea that started with a conversation with a prospective client a couple of months ago. So yeah, it's very poignant right now that we look at sales and marketing people, I think more so than the last 25 years, is what's trending out there and how can my company benefit from that. Without, sustainability is a big deal right now. People are saying, we don't want to get in the green stuff. You're losing money. Look at it. Think about it. What can you support from a second or a tertiary level with your company that keeps you necessarily out of the green spotlight, if that's where you want to be, but it's also a revenue stream? Willis, what do you think about some of this stuff?
Well, I think that's absolutely right. And one of the kind of cool things when you mentioned about, presenting in your hotel room and then adapting and going to an in-person event downstairs, that's the way we work now. We can work from anywhere. It used to be work from home, work remote, but now it's work from anywhere. And I'll just give you a little example. I'm going to be going on a 10-day business trip later this month, and it's going to be to Vietnam, Hong Kong, and Manila. I'll be in Saigon for a few days, and I'm going to be presenting to a group of luxury retailers there, like Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and others. And we're going to do a hands-on workshop on how to use AI in marketing. And so that's a really exciting prospect, but we're preparing for it in advance using video meetings and back and forth to get them ready and answer some pre-event questions, getting the workshop set up. And so that's a really cool opportunity. And then while I'm there, I'm going to be presenting on video back to North America. So it's just work from anywhere. Maybe it's an appropriate time just to talk a little bit about AI, because that is one of the big things that marketers right today, Terry.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'm jealous you're headed over to Vietnam, and that trip, just when you told me about it the other day, I was just drooling. Oh man, that sounds so good. My business partner and wife, who has recruited and been working with some clients who live in Northern Europe since after the lockdown, is over there right now for 6 weeks, working with them, helping them put some event ideas together and doing that on a one-to-one basis. What a thrill it is. Here we are in the Western United States, up in the mountains in Asheville, North Carolina, and we've had online clients come to the U.S. to come to Charlotte or more times than not, Atlanta, and come on over to our house and spend a week. So I had that personal time, It's a treat and a treasure. The use of AI in the future of retail was a discussion I had just about a week ago with a custom clothier out of Hong Kong. My custom clothier, actually. And he is going crazy with these online opportunities. So I gave him some suggestions on how to get on some podcasts and talk about, number one, a person can get a fine suit in a couple of weeks' time, made exactly the way they want in the fabric they want. And a lot of times it's a better investment than if they go down to the local men's store and do their thing, and women's too, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, you're talking about some high level marketers over there on your trip. Maybe you can expand on that a little bit for our audience.
Yeah, so one of the things that, by the way, I love going to Vietnam. I've been there many times in the past, and we have SMEI has a very robust operation there. A lot of members, a lot of people engaged in our educational programs, and I love the entrepreneurial spirit of the people in Vietnam. They really are truly entrepreneurs, and even I would say in their business, when they're working as employees, they have the entrepreneurial spirit. So that makes it really interesting, because people are, when they have that spirit, they're eager to learn. And I think that's one of the keys in adapting and adopting new technology, is you have to have the willingness to learn and get exposure to some of these new technologies. And AI is one of them. So I'm not going to talk specifically about ChatGPT, although that is definitely one of the key drivers behind the AI movement. But OpenAI has really led the way. But there are some other really cool programs and plugins that are being used for what we call generative AI. So Terry, generative AI is using AI to generate content, whether it's images or whether it's blog posts or creating content for your customers and or your teams. And so we've been working with a program where you develop your voice, you write your voice and the tone of voice that you want to use in your documents. So your brand voice becomes dominant. And whether it's a professional voice, whether it's a witty voice, whether it's an educational voice, it depends on your market, but you want to write in that tone of voice. And the problem with AI is it will write in its own kind of generic tone. And so you want it to use your tone. So we can teach it and train AI to write in our tone of voice. And then, for example, we can develop a template and load our tone of voice document and our brand messaging into AI and teach it about that. And then from there, we can decide what we want to do with it. So for example, if we wanted to promote this program, we could write a blog post about it. We could ask it to write some LinkedIn copy. We could ask it to write some copy for Twitter, for Facebook. We could ask it to write ads. And then we generate those while it's waiting. It takes about less than a minute. And you can generate all that content ready to go in less than a minute. So we did a program the other day where we're partnering with a publisher to promote sales management content from their books that they publish. And we're marketing it to professors who teach sales and sales management at universities and colleges. And so we wanted to develop a campaign where it would promote that to those professors. And we put in our tone of voice, we put what we wanted to do in our brand messaging, trained it on that, and then we asked it to generate email campaigns, a web page, landing page for them to land on, and calls to action. It did that in 30 seconds. And we were able to pull those, and it did 5 different emails in succession, with the final one, which was kind of like your final call to action, and generated all of that content. And it was almost perfect. It did need some human editing, and that's what I would say about anything to do with AI. When you're using generative AI, is you want to make sure that you edit it for accuracy. That's really paramount, especially if if you're a marketer and it's going to be your content out there, it's got your name on it, your brand on it, you want it to be right. So that's what we did with AI, and that's what we're teaching now in the workshop in Vietnam, is how to do that, how to interact with customers, how to generate marketing campaigns, how to generate ads and images that will be used for marketing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to jump in there also. SEO, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the ARI knows the buzzwords of the industry that you're working with, and certainly edited, but and it can be in the SEO drivers of your corporation or your company, your organization, whatever it is, so that when somebody's out there doing searches, you pop up where you're supposed to be. So SEO is every bit as important as it ever was. You know, people were afraid of SEO 20 years ago, and now it's a common word, you know, and as it should be. You know, I have a brilliant friend, colleague, who's a content writer. She makes a lot of money every year because she does similar to what AI does. She writes content in her client's voice, right? She spends a lot of time with them. She records them. She investigates them, gets a cadence for what they're saying and how they say it, and then roll with it. And she said, I jumped on AI immediately because it will help me do my job better, faster. And she also mentioned, I still check it over though, because nothing's perfect, you know?
Yeah, and that's what agencies can do that now. They can have multiple brand voices and just select the one that they want to work with and for that client, and use that to generate content. So it's very exciting that we're in these times, and some of the cool things that we're doing with AI is getting it to work with Google, and so we can use AI tools right within the Google tools like Google Docs and Google Sheets, and so we can ask it, for example, to create an outline for a workshop, and it'll do that right with timelines and everything. If you tell it, I'm doing a half-day workshop on this content, develop a schedule or an agenda for me, and it will actually create the whole thing right there in your Google Sheet, and it'll even put in coffee breaks. So it's very, very cool. One thing about the coffee breaks in Vietnam is that their Vietnamese coffee is absolutely amazing. So I don't think that there is a Starbucks there. There wasn't the last time I went, but there are a number of independent coffee shops, and they do an absolutely fabulous job on coffee. So I think if Vietnam was going to market themselves as a destination, coffee would be right up there at the top of the list. If you're a coffee lover or a coffee connoisseur, or sometimes as people would call you, a coffee snob, you would want to go to Vietnam because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you know, and you and I've talked about this. I often speak about, you know, when people ask you, what do you do? Or, you know, about your business or anything like that, have in the back of your mind, in the vision in your mind of your ideal customer, and speak to that customer. Because you never know that if the person in front of you is going to receive the message, or they're going to receive it and pass it on to your ideal client. So there's two ways to look at that, and writing content is also a way to do it. So if you're looking at Southern used car dealers as your ideal client, learn that vernacular. Okay, speak of their language, and they're gonna warm up to you and be more open to what you're saying in your content. So speak to your customer, not speak about them. So yes, that's a big deal too. Willis?
Yeah. So after going to Vietnam, I'm going to be going on to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is a great hub for SMEI. We have a lot of activity there, a lot of members. And we're going to be doing the 55th annual Distinguished Sales Award Program. And it's a culmination of a great series of workshops, of prep workshops for sales and marketing practitioners to hone their skills and compete in a contest to win an award called the Distinguished Sales Award and the Outstanding Young Salesperson Award, which is given to a category of younger people who are up and coming in the profession. And the exciting thing about it is there aren't a lot of award programs that have that kind of longevity today, 55 years. But this particular award is a trademark award that goes way back to the early 1900s when SMEI first started the award, and it became trademarked. And our trophy, I wish I had one here right on my desk because I could show you, but the trophy is called the Victor Statuette, and it's SMEI got sued by the Oscars for trademark infringement on the Oscar, and we took that. We went to court and we won the case because our award outdates the Oscars, and so we got to keep it. And apparently, the person who designed our trophy went on to design the Oscars and sort of copied our trophy. But we're really proud of that Victor Statuette, and it's a real testament to one of our founding principles, and that is the identification of professional standards in sales and marketing. And so it's really important that we have individuals who uphold the standards of professionalism in sales and marketing, and that they're recognized as such with this award, because it gives kind of a beacon of light to those who are coming after them in the profession or others. It's a great influence in the market, and saying, if I want to be a real professional, I want to be like them. I want to really, really be able to uphold the standard, high ethical standards, high moral standards, and really work with the best intentions for my customer and the company that I work for. And so it's exciting to be able to be there and facilitate in presenting these awards. It's a black tie gala dinner. The ones that I've attended, a number of them over the past 22 years, I've been going to every one except when the pandemic closed things down. So this will be the first one back in person, and it's really exciting. There's usually over 1,000 people in the Hong Kong Convention Center looking out over Causeway Bay towards Kowloon. Beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows, beautiful ambiance. Everyone is dressed in black tie and gown, and it's really done right. The food is amazing. The floral centerpiece is amazing. And there are over 150 people getting awards that night. So it is a little bit of a marathon, but the cool thing is that with so many awards, they actually have a paparazzi section at below the stage. And the friends and family and coworkers of the person getting the awards go up into that rope section, and they cheer on the award winner. They have some interesting noisemakers, and they even have usually in the last few events they've had photos of the award winner on stakes that they hold up and bounce up and down in front of the stage, and they just make a big deal about it because it is a big deal. And so it's really fun to watch. And the rest of us, after, the speeches are before dinner, so this is happening kind of during dinner, and the rest of us are having dinner and conversation around our table while these people are getting their awards. And so it's a really, really cool event. And then at the end, they have all the award committee on the stage, and have fireworks and on the stage, and let out some confetti and some glasses of champagne, and toast to the winners and all the people who made this event happen. It's a big deal.
Wow. That's all I can say about it. Wow. What a venue, what ambiance that can be created. And kudos to you over 22 years of going to this event and representing SMEI. I want you to do a commercial for SMEI right now. I'm part of that gang. And ladies and gentlemen, you can get a hold of Willis the easy way, right on LinkedIn or Facebook. And if you want to do some work with it, you can look up SMEI on certainly on a search. But Willis, tell us about the organization. It's really quite an organization.
Yeah, Terry, SMEI was founded actually in the 1930s when some sales managers got together. There were sales managers clubs around the U.S. in those days, and there were some sales managers who got together in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a little conference, and they invited a speaker to come down from New York, and they had a sales management club meeting. Most of I think, like it goes with today's conferences, is the real work gets done after the main speeches, usually in the lounge or the hotel lobby. And I think they had a few glasses of whiskey and some cigars, and they got talking about the fact that there must be other clubs like this around the U.S. And the speaker from New York says, yes, there are. I happen to know that. I've been speaking for some of them. And so I will, I'll be going back to New York. What message do you want? And so there was a sales management magazine published at that time. And he said, I know the publisher and I will take a message back for you. So they took a message back and wrote a letter to all the clubs and posted it in that magazine, asking people to come together, the head of each club to come together in New York. So they did that on October 17th, 1935, at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in the Empire Room. That room is still there today, Terry. I've actually walked in that room myself. I think they've changed the carpet since 1935, but that hotel was brand new at that time. And there was we have a photo of that founding meeting. It was all, of course, in those days, it was all men. I think the only women that would have been in that room would have been those that were serving the food. So things have changed, thank goodness, since then. But one of the people that was in that room was Thomas Watson Sr., and he was the founder of IBM. And so he was one of the founders of SMEI. And the purpose of the organization was stated, as I mentioned earlier, to set a standard of professionalism for sales and marketing. And there was 5 founding principles established at that time, and we still honor those today. So continuing education is one of them. Supporting students is one of them. The exchange of ideas and knowledge is one. And the other one is the support of free enterprise or the market economy. So those 5 principles are what we're true to even today.
Fantastic. Sales and Marketing Executives International, CEO Willis Turner, my friend and colleague. And ladies and gentlemen, hope this was informative for you. It was me. I learn every time I talk to Willis. He's just a wealth of information. And for you sales and marketing execs out there, for you executives out there that want to look at a different perspective, reach out to Willis and his organization, and what can that do to expand your knowledge. So that's it for this time around, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, and for those of you who pick up the recording later, thank you for stopping by. Perhaps Willis Willis, won't you put your link in the comments when you get a minute, and maybe they can reach out to both you and or SMEI. Maybe that'd be great. Can you do that?
I sure can, Terry, and thanks. It's been great to be with you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, see you next month.